Hey, what up? This is Lucy, your host for Beats Freaks Geeks. We're kicking off our first episode of the podcast, and I'm joined today by one of the greatest beat maker, producer, artists, Jaded Eye. How's it going?
It's going well. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
That was quite the
Excited to
intro
have
for
you
me.
here on our first podcast episode.
I'm excited too.
Right?
Yeah, this is
All
cool.
right, let's talk about music. I was listening to some of your stuff earlier.
Cool.
And how would you describe your sound?
I'd say right now, it's a fusion of boom bap with lo-fi, really heavy on the lo-fi lately, kind of synth-based hip-hop, but everything definitely has been residing in the hip-hop realm lately.
Some of the stuff I thought had like a kind of like a psychedelic, sometimes kind of eerie.
Are you thinking of like Pompeii?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Right?
a lot of like running through pedals and stuff like that.
Is there also like a sample of Mac DeMarco or no?
That tape is no samples. I do sample a lot, but that one's cool because it's absolutely no samples other than me and Jesus Kreitz, who's the guy I worked with, just resampling ourselves using cassette players.
Yeah,
and stuff like
there was
that.
a track that I think Ripple. It's called Ripple.
Okay,
maybe,
yeah.
That I thought sounded like a Mac DeMarco track.
Interesting.
It just like reminded me of it right away.
Do you remember the name of the track?
I can't remember it.
Okay.
I have it on my phone. I just can't remember the name. But
definitely wanna
immediately
check
I
it
was
out.
like, this reminds me of that. I
Cool.
don't know if it's the something about it. I
mean,
like,
he's amazing. I don't listen to him a lot, so I probably wouldn't know about the
I know
track.
like maybe the one song that I'm talking about. I'm
Cool.
like, oh wait, why does this remind me of that so much?
Cool, I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, so tell me about Jesus Kreitz. Is this someone that you collaborate with often? Or?
Yeah, so I think he's still going by the full name, but my friend Justin, who produced the name Jesus Kreitz.
That's very clever, actually.
Yeah. So his last name's Kreitz. That's where
Is it really?
Yeah, that's where that comes
Is his
from.
first name Jesus or no?
His first name's Justin.
Oh, Justin.
I don't mean to expose him or anything, but
oh no, I thought that was a really clever name.
Yeah. He's really cool. We do Sunday sessions pretty much every Sunday, and so we have that project out. It came out really great. Definitely, we had no intention when we first started hanging out other than just make sounds, and so now we're working on a second project, which is going to feature a bunch of vocalists, like kind of a various artist tape, where we make all the beats, invite different singers and rappers to do their thing on them, and release it as one project.
Do you sing or rap?
I do not. I may have tried to rap in the past back in Maine, but that's not.
I still try to do that.
Yeah. I mean, a couple beers and maybe I try. But
yeah. Same
but
here.
no, definitely on the production side, beat maker side.
Are you more software based or hardware?
So I was always software based, except for vinyl sampling.
Okay.
So I'd start off with the vinyl, and then I use Ableton as my software, and I definitely consider it one of my instruments. I'm sure a lot of people would cringe at that, but
Yeah.
I definitely use it fully as an instrument to create my sound. But then I like to use I definitely, since being out here, have become a huge part of my setup,
Right.
which has changed my production a lot, which is cool. And then so keys, synths, and then I play some flute.
How did you get started in production or making beats? What was the inspiration behind that?
So I just hung out. I had this friend of mine who, my friend Travis, and we were in a group back in Maine. But that started out with us just hanging out. He lived across from me in college, and he could just freestyle forever. It was absolutely amazing.
Just off the top of his head?
Off the top of his head, he could go for until you cut him off, he would keep going.
No way.
And so I used to show up to his room, and I'd just be like kind of drunk late at night or something on a
Yeah.
weekend, and he still is a real introvert and would always be in his room. And so I'd knock on the door, I'd come in, and I'd be like, I got a bunch of instrumentals lined up on YouTube, like they wouldn't be mine, and I'd just put them on, and he'd just go. And so that was fun, and I was like, I want to start making some of these beats. And I thought I could rap a little bit. I really couldn't.
Let's hear it.
Let's not. Next time. But no, it was tight, and that's what it just led to us working together. And I used to play like concert band and stuff, which I don't really. But that kind of laid a foundation for the music theory, playing the flute, playing the keys. So
then, how long have you been producing?
I've been seriously producing for probably the last 4 years or so, actually making music that releasable.
Yeah. Who do you look up to now?
now I feel like it's gotten really local for me, which has been really cool. So I'll say, like, when I started out, it was like kind of the big names. Like, I loved just, Jay Dilla, and then like Ninth Wonder was my idol. And still is. I absolutely love Ninth Wonder. And so just listen to them, and like, Pete Rock and Madlib was huge for me. So a lot of more like starting out in the 90s production, maybe a little more boom bap, more soul. And so that's why I love sampling vinyl.
Right.
But now it's like I feel like my influences are all the people that I work with around me, which is super cool. Like even like Beats Freaks Geeks. I don't know what type of you tell me what type of member Protist is. I mean, he's a piece of it. Abstract. But like I just feel like people like he got me. I was like, I have to get a synth when I started working with him in his studio and just seeing him design sounds, and then just seeing like Bad Snacks with the synths, like in the layering, and then bringing her own instrument, and she brings a violin on. I was like, oh, I can like bring the flute onto tracks, which I'm still trying to adapt. And like Gillesque with the way she flips these soul samples. And so that just like, and then I've just been working with like my friend Diego, who's a drummer, and he also makes lo-fi beats. And it's like just these different perspectives on music that I get to be around firsthand.
Yeah.
Have really and then like Figgy is one of the main vocalists I work with, and we've started just pretty much starting things from scratch in the studio, and that's definitely changed the way I produce versus producing alone. So that's a long answer, but basically now I'm looking more around me instead of out into bigger people I haven't met.
When you're gonna start making a beat, what is it that you hear? Is it a sound that you hear like just from nature, a sound that you hear in a car from somebody playing a random song, or is it something that you just hear maybe even in your sleep, something that you just hear and you wake up and like, oh, I have the sound stuck in my head, I have to make something out of it?
I don't usually I'll usually start with like a feeling. My best tracks definitely come from just like I'm feeling melancholy, or I'm feeling like
that's interesting
in some sort of groove, or I'm really feeling myself, or something like that. But and then usually I'm sitting down in front of the piano and just playing around with some chords and kind of seeing what starts to resonate with how I'm feeling in that moment. The flip side of that is I also love sampling vinyl, and so I'll just start putting records on from either a new box I got or some old records I have, and just letting them play until I kind of hear a sound that catches my ear, or or something like that I can kind of flip into something new.
That's amazing.
It's fun.
Yeah. And now you mentioned that you came from Maine. Tell me a little bit about, because you're based out of LA now, right?
Yep.
So tell me about how that was to leave home to come here and pursue your dream.
So I don't even know if it was it wasn't really a formed dream yet when I left. So I got out. I've only been out here. I've been out here for just over a year.
Oh, okay.
I showed up last October, and but yeah, I decided I was just bored with Maine. I never planned on going to school in Maine, and I did for 6 years. Got a degree in mechanical engineering, so not even audio related.
Yeah.
And then when I graduated, I got offered a good job in Maine, and I was living in a cool house, and I was like, okay, I've reached a point where either like I'm now staying in Maine for a while, and being like an engineer, or am I just gonna go? And so I just kind of chose LA as a destination.
Why LA?
Well, I've loved working on music. It was more of a hobby back in Maine that in the last year before I moved started to transition into just kind of like selling beats to a couple people. I'd release some stuff and get a little more feedback other than just like people ignoring a SoundCloud link. I started to get a couple people that were like, this is pretty cool. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to pick up and get a new job somewhere, even if it's not in music, why not just like move somewhere super dope where there's a lot of creativity and culture, and just be that transplant kid who just shows up. But I didn't really show up here with any real intention, and that's kind of over the last year that intention has started to form.
How do you feel so far, a year later?
LA feels way more like home.
Do you feel like you made the right
LA.
choice?
I love being here, which I think there's a lot of factors to that. The fact that I get to work from home and not deal with traffic and stuff like that. Yeah. But also it's just Maine never really felt like home to me. I love Maine. I have a lot of great friends in my some of my family in Maine. But yeah, LA feels like home. It's cool. It's been a really cool feeling.
Where do you see yourself, or where do you see your production career, or whatever you may want to call it? Where do you see that going, or the ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal is to be able to keep creating and have all my needs met. I don't know if I have a more specific goal than that, because like my favorite thing to do is be in the studio making a beat or working with vocalists. So like I don't feel like the working on the music is like a means to an end,
right?
Other than to continue to create and make better music and work with bigger artists. And of course I want more people to hear it. And I'm not saying like I hate the thought of being more like financially successful, but yeah, I don't really have an end goal. It's really just getting to work with more people, and the people I'm working with now who are growing and becoming bigger artists. It's like, cool, we're going somewhere, we're making something.
What would be the dream collaboration for you? Jaded Eye and
Mick Jenkins. Mick Jenkins is, I'd say, my favorite rapper.
That was pretty fast.
Yeah. I feel like I always
You're
have
like, I'm ready for this question.
Well, I love, I mean, it's like essence of hip hop. It's got this lo-fi vibe, this kind of mellow, a lot of mellow keys, a lot of like, and he's just like the essence of hip hop. I love listening to Mick Jenkins. And then Isaiah Rashad is another person I really want to work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about any ladies?
I'm trying to think of what singers I want to work with. So Tierra Whack is super dope. And I love that it's like her concept of these short trap songs, because she's been releasing the 1 minute trap songs. Even if like the track isn't over, it just cuts at a minute. And I'm like, that's dope. Like she's just like, she knows she's dope. And just the style is super sick, and I'd love to work with her. Okay,
that's cool.
I definitely could have used some solid advice when I showed up here. I felt like I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but that's when I just started going out. I mean, I was like, my first 2 months here, I'm gonna go to everything. So every night I'm just gonna go to something. I don't care if it looks like it's not gonna benefit me. I don't care. And so like one of those happened to be the Demo Blank Beats Freaks Geeks. It was like the final Demo Blank show at their old spot, and I'd already been to a couple beat sets, but like I'd never been to anything like this. That was my first like real. I was like, this is culture. Like this is like, there's amazing art, like absolutely amazing art, just painted and plastered up everywhere. And that was when they'd spray painted the whole inside of the house. And then first time I'd heard like Bad Snacks and Temple was there, SP the Soul Prophet. So it was just all these people that are making like dope hip hop, and it's just playing out of this little wooden shed, and this guy's walking around beaming because Noah, you can't not see Noah, like you just freaking beaming everywhere he walks.
How did you find the showcases?
I don't even know how I found it. I think I had one friend, because I followed a lot of people. I was trying to follow people in the area on Instagram, and someone posted something, and it was like the last event, and it's like $5 to come through, and I was like, I'm just gonna go. I think I'd met Bad Snacks one night, but I hadn't. And so she had posted something about it.
So Bad Snacks is another.
Yeah, so she's actually another
producer?
Jessie from New England, which is yeah, Jessie is my given name, and so yeah. I wasn't born jaded. Well, I was born jaded, but not the name. Yeah, I don't know. So I just started going to things, and I was like, no excuses. Like, I'm here. I don't know anyone, so I don't have anything else to take up my time outside.
So you just got to be able to put yourself out there, not be, because I know some people have this weird thing where like, I don't like to go out by myself. I wouldn't know what to do. Who do I talk to? Especially when you're trying to get yourself out there. But even for me, like I go out all the time by myself, just because like I don't have friends that sometimes like the same things that I do. Right. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go hang out by myself.
Cool.
You know?
I love being by myself too, because I live in a studio. I'm all. So that's about
pretty
that.
Normal.
Yeah, and so like, and I had plenty of shows that I went to that were like, okay, I didn't get anything from that.
Right.
I didn't meet anyone that I
wanted to. It's part of the process.
Yeah,
something
but then
that you
I
have
had
to do.
some shows where I'd show up and be like, oh, I don't even want to be here. I'm just gonna show up so I can say I didn't go home, and then I'd meet the coolest people and be like,
yeah,
these are people I still work with, like this guy.
Yeah, and that's part of the whole process is networking.
Yeah.
You have to do it. Even like you said, if you don't get anything out of it, show face. Go hang out. See what maybe you might pick up something that, I don't know, anything.
Well, I've also done beat sets where it's all about show face. It's like I'll do a set. There's not many people there. Some people won't even say anything to me there. I'll get a couple like nice jobs, but then down the road, I'll have someone hit me up to do another set. They'll be like, "Hey, I saw you at this spot. I didn't come say, hey, I left early, but we'd love to have you come do a set." And so it all just leads to stuff. It might not be immediate return. So that's been cool.
How do you prep for a show, for a showcase?
So a lot of what I'm doing, it depends what type of set I'm doing. A lot of times I'll do like just kind of an exhibition of beats where I'm just kind of DJing my own stuff. But then I've also done like my first showcase I did with them. I get a whole performance set up where I'm basically freestyling with a ton of different loops and then bringing, I use a push, like Ableton Push 64 pads. So you can play it, you can play keys on it, you can play drum pads on it. So it kind of depends how I'm feeling, what type of show I'm doing, how much time I want to put into it. But yeah, it's cool. It can be a bunch of different things. I've done a couple shows with other people, brought a drummer on.
Really?
Protus, who I was talking about before, came on stage.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, it was cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
We're definitely trying to adapt it more into running all instruments through my computer and through Ableton, and being able to just kind of adapt the sound on the go.
That sounds really awesome. I'd want to check that out.
Cool. Yeah, a lot of
next
things
time you do
under
it,
construction.
let me know.
I will, for sure.
Or post it on your Instagram.
I will, no doubt.
So let us know. Do you have any upcoming projects? Do you want to promote anything?
Yeah, so that project that I'm working on with Jesus Christ is definitely early.
Pompeii.
Well, so Pompeii is the last release.
The last one.
The next one, I think we got a working title of Bops Only. Definitely trying to figure that out. But that will be with a bunch of vocalists. And when he and I get in the studio, we end up leaving with like 4 beats every day, like ready to go. So that's exciting. Figgy Baby is an artist I work with all the time. Absolutely love them. And he has an album coming out in February. I have a bunch of beats on that. We release singles all the time. Who else? Karina Sees. We're doing a little EP with her. Zen Stokely, doing an EP with him. I got another various artist projects coming out with just my work. I got 2 instrumental tapes in the works.
So you have a lot of stuff coming up.
Yeah, I'm just kind of locked down. Well, I'm trying to have the beginning of the year be a bunch of releases.
How do you have time to socialize or to? You're like, what? I don't need to do that.
Socializing, I do in the studio.
You're like,
which I know some of my friends are like, chill, like we don't need to do music every time. But I'm
so
like,
what about like love life? Does that get in the way or no?
It hasn't been lately. It's been a pretty good balance.
That's good.
There's definitely time gets redistributed in different ways.
Yeah.
But as long as it feels light, that's the way I go. So everything's just kind of been fitting together really nicely.
What's the most exciting part for you of the production process?
The most exciting part is when you have someone in the studio and you're working on something from scratch and you both just like something just hits just right. Like either you hear a new sample or like you lay the progression down or the pocket of the drums is perfect. And you both just like look at each other real quick and you're like, oh, okay. Because especially like a lot of times the first 3 things I'll work on if we're doing a creative session, you're just kind of like, okay, this is cool. Like, but it's usually like working through those and you scrap them, you don't save them because it's all about what it's opening up to next.
Right.
And so then, you lock down the studio, you've been in there a couple hours and then you just hear it and you're both like, or however many people you got are all like,
that's how you know you made a dope beat.
Yeah, when everyone
look around,
snaps,
everyone's like, okay, everyone's feeling it.
Yeah, so dope. I mean, you get that in the live sets too. Like, I'll be playing some stuff and people will be vibing with it. And then one drops and you feel the whole room be like, oh, this matches the room right now. This matches the energy perfectly.
Do you ever feel like something that you really thought was like super dope, you play it at a showcase and people are like, but then there's something that you thought was like just okay.
For sure.
And people are like, oh man, this guy's so dope.
The funny thing is when I'm doing it live, I've noticed that like I tend what most of the time what I think is gonna really hit does. But a lot of times when it's a recording, like I've done recorded live sets or stuff like that, and I'm like, this is gonna hit, and then people just don't really care. But that's also like trying to get people to click on links and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I've definitely had things flat live too, where you're just like, oh, I thought people would be way more into that. And a lot of times it's when like if I'm doing like an opening set, it's like just trying to get people's attention, and trying to draw them in. But yeah, that's all about. I mean, part of doing the beat sets and being a performer is being a DJ and reading the room and understanding what they're gonna vibe with.
Yeah. Do you get nervous when you're gonna perform or no?
Yeah, sometimes. I don't know. It depends. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with the sets I do. Depends how much new stuff I'm doing. I DJ for some vocalists where we'll do bigger stages that can feel a little intimidating. I work with this one artist, Cordelia, amazing vocalist, does like a lot of like Latin trap music.
Yeah.
And so I haven't been producing for her, but I DJ for her, and we've done some pretty big stages. And definitely, you know, when you're working with a big stage crew and I'm supposed to know exactly what's going on.
Yeah,
it's more the build up. Once you're on stage and going,
yeah,
it's fun.
I was gonna say I would think that like a smaller crowd would make me more nervous, like a more intimate crowd than a big crowd.
See, so I feel like as a vocalist, if I was a vocalist, I would probably feel that way. But when I'm like curating a beat set, I love just like having a microphone, having a crowd that I can really be like, and then I can really feel out what track I should put on next, what kind of vibe I should be, versus like a bigger crowd. Sometimes like I don't really know who's feeling what. Yeah. But like when you got those few people that are really vibing with you, it's like, okay, cool. Like we're all in the same energy right now.
Yeah. Well, everybody's on drugs, so they don't care.
Exactly. Well, that's why I hand out so many drugs before my show.
Like here, it's free. Yeah,
it's free.
Don't worry about it.
Just clarify, I do not do that.
No. Yeah, we do not condone that stuff either. We're just making jokes.
We just like clarity.
Yeah, clarity. We're just making jokes, guys. Let's see what else. I was listening to some of your older projects, and Motion.
Yeah.
That's a very long.
Oh, so
39 tracks?
An artist, Motion, who's from Chicago. I got that right? Okay, good. No, for some reason Motion is super dope. She came out here for about a month. Did some production, did some sets, and so luckily I got the chance to work with her. She came through my spot, and we just made something from scratch. A track called Subway Surf. I love the song. We didn't really know what we were going to do with it, and we ended up getting placed on a compilation tape with Pueblo Vista. And that's track has definitely gotten it's gotten put on a bunch of playlists. It's started to build up a little bit, and so it's just cool that we had no expectation from the day, didn't know what we were going to do with the track after it's done, and it's been like definitely my biggest release with number of listeners. Yeah, that's cool. Do you sell all your beats, or how does that work? So I've started moving away. I used to just sell beats online, and that was more of what I was saying before about kind of isolating myself a bit, trying to just like work alone, finish something out, be a beat maker, and I'm done. And I've kind of, the cool part about being in LA is there's all the talent and creativity right next door. Like there's people everywhere. And so, so I've been more collaborating with people where I'm not selling to anyone. We're releasing together, we're building together, and trying to establish more of a fan base and build that as a unit. So then if I wanted to use your beats for my YouTube videos, do I have to like just download, buy, or is it like I know on SoundCloud they do this thing where you have to like follow the artist and then you download the beat for free. You know, people do different things. So it depends. So some of it is like, so I've sold some stuff for production, which tends to be like doing a lease of a beat for something like YouTube, or if it's a placement. I haven't gotten a TV placement, but if it's like a TV placement, something like that, I'd sell like a lease, which is just giving permissions to use that as a backing track. But I haven't done as much of that. I'm doing lately has been working with vocalists, and like they're handling more of the marketing and the release. But yeah, definitely building up the production side a little bit. Need to have the production library a little bigger, so under construction. Okay. At the moment. Have you shot any videos for the beats or no? So I do like Instagram videos mostly. Yeah. I shoot like 1 minute edits. I go down by the pool sometimes and like make these little edits, and then I have a weird technique of using Adobe Illustrator and iMovie to make these kind of lo-fi glitch edits, which is a lot of fun, but also super time consuming. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's I'll be like, I want to spend 2 hours today and make an edit, and then like I don't do anything else.
That's
the
what
whole
I was
day.
just saying the other day. I was editing and I was like, it should take me about an hour because I'm getting like quicker. 4 hours later, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I just finished
Well,
this
also
edit.
you see like new ideas and you're like, I want to try it out. And you're like, I'm not going to not do it because I know it'll look cool. And so it's worth it, but also trying to balance like what's really worth it. Am I just doing this for me or is it actually bettering the release? But so those are the little videos I do for the instrumentals. Figgy, the artist I work with, we have a couple projects coming up that will have videos to go with them. We have one track that he just shot the video for in Berlin, super tight. Can't wait for that. That's gonna be it. We perform the track all the time, but still unreleased. So drop that shit, Figgy.
Hey, so what would you want to perform? Like
where's the spot?
The spot that you would say like this is what I dreamed of. I've always wanted to do this.
Where is?
I've always wanted to go there. I'm doing a showcase. You know, the stars are aligning.
Well, I'd say a big thing for me is I want to do a fairly big show in New England.
Okay.
Because I just don't associate my main life, like, and my music life, they feel so separate.
Right.
Because I was more of a mechanical engineer in Maine. Like, that was just who I was in Maine. And I felt like I couldn't really, I mean, I could have, but I just felt like I couldn't be creative and really flourish creatively. I felt very tied down and being very limited. And so and I don't feel that way at all here. I feel like I have unlimited creativity, unlimited people to connect with.
That makes me feel good about living here.
Yeah, no, I love LA. It's just, I think it's the coolest place. And so, but I think it would be great to go, you know, maybe to Maine or even just to like Boston and to like do a decent sized show or even, you know, even do like a small beat set. So that wouldn't signify that I've made it, but I think that is a goal of mine to just kind of incorporate more of that part of my life, like kind of fuse the two together instead of having them be these two completely separate lives.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add, or would you like to any crazy backstory in your production?
Crazy backstory. I mean, I'd say I just think LA's cool because I came out here as like kind of a low-key beat maker, and I'm just getting all these opportunities in audio. I've done some boom work for comedy sketches with some friends. I've worked on my next door neighbor does a lot of sketch comedy, and so we'll make anything from like a Tron remake to him recording acoustic guitar. We did this woman who was playing this like Norwegian workout instructor. We made like backing music for her, and it's just like stuff that I would just never think of doing. These little opportunities pop up, and I'm just excited for more of them to keep popping up.
That's what's really cool about LA, and I think especially like Hollywood is just next door you got a songwriter, on the other side you got a comedian, and across the hall you have
everyone's
actress,
there.
You know?
And I lucked out so much with the apartment complex I moved into because it's the kindest people, and I just moved in myself, didn't know anyone, and I'm just surrounded by people that are doing their thing, fairly successful, and most of them are a bit older than me, and so I do have some level of not really mentorship, but there is some guidance there of just like how to go about the industry, whatever that may mean day to day.
Yeah, I mean, well, it can be different for everyone, but in a sense, it's the same. Like you all have to go through the networking and the failures and just getting back up and trying again.
Just willing to be vulnerable and willing, and just really connecting with your art, so that when something doesn't hit right with a group or an audience, you're still. It feels like less of a hit when you're really like when I just feel really connected to my music. It's like, okay, maybe the set didn't go great, but I still know that this is me and this is what I want to be making, and I know it's good. Yeah. So.
Do you come from a musical family?
I do not.
You don't?
But I come from a family with stacks of records, and so that's where my love of vinyl and sampling comes from. Is just my dad gave me a ton of like Woodstock era records that I just love and brought out with me. It was very inconvenient to drive out with all of them in my car.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's more my background. My mom played flute, so that's why I picked up the flute.
So you have a little bit,
a little bit, but definitely wasn't big. I was big on sports when I was a kid, and so I feel like now I'm kind of trying to make up for some of that lost time and dive into it head first.
All right. Anything else that you want to add?
I think that's all I got.
Don't you guys think he looks like a Robin Thicke? Sing for us. Just kidding. Well, Jaded Eye is going to do a little mini showcase for us here at Beats Freaks Geek. So stick around and give us your Instagram.
Jaded Eye Beats, JADEDEYE, Beats with an S, because I make more than one.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next episode. And thank you so much for watching.
Appreciate you.
I know you're tired of dumb shit, so check this here. I see the neck breaking, butt shaking freaks of this year. Yeah, so peep the stilo of how it go. Yeah, so peep the stilo of how it go. Yeah, so peep the stilo of how it go. Yeah, so peep the stilo of how it go. Yeah, so peep the stilo of how it go. Yeah, so peep the stilo of how it go. I know you're tired of dumb shit, so check this here. I see the neck breaking, butt shaking freaks of this year. Yeah, so peep the stilo of how it go.
Doggone shoot, I'ma smoke today. Ride to some drive, give me dap if you high.
Took that motherfucker to the side when you go up.
Double me, you know I hit the tide when you know what. Van, mission, lie to me, cause my bitches hit the swisher and a lie. Doggone shoot, I'ma smoke today. Ride to some drive, give me dap if you high. Took that motherfucker to the side when you pull up. Double me, you know I hit the tide when you know what. Van, mission, lie to me, cause my bitches hit the swisher and a lottery. I can't see each other, what happened to me? Unwind, I'm seeing Southern. Kidnapping and G, she want coke and good religion. To me and Ali, without that guilt in my reach, I can't quit talking to me, for I can't see each other, what happened to me?
Unwind, I'm seeing Southern. Kidnapping and G.
She want coke and good religion. To me, guilt, I can't quit talking to me, for I can't see each other. She want coke and good religion. For I can't see each other. What happened to me? Unwind, I'm seeing Southern. Kidnapping and G. She want coke and good religion. To me and Ali, without that guilt in my reach, I can't quit talking to me. For
Just
Walking in, that's the time. I feel